And so our race continues. We are now in Muruganda, Aetherdrift story part 4. In Muruganda, the first little part of the story is not anything with race. It is back on, not Amakhet, in Avishkar, where Mohar, which is Sita's father, is meeting with some soldiers, and this soldier was a loyal soldier, and Ruja, and basically talking to them about, hey, we need to do this revolution. Hey, we got this plan. We're going to do this trap at the very end of the race, stop the racers, overthrow everyone in charge. No one's going to know it. We're going to take back Avishkar and everything. So that's kind of what it is, with using both Jace and Vraska on their side is kind of what it's saying. He's talking about it. Then we jump in the race. And we got Vin, who's this commentator, and I can just see him being this super excited, like, another day at the races, another racer put through his paces, is kind of how I see him talking. And he's interviewing Grinar, who's like this large ape druid figure, who is like kind of one of the heads and leaders of the different tribes and stuff like that that are on Muruganda. They're having conversation a little bit as a translator, and he's like, look, there's these floating islands, and he's like, they're not floating, everything is falling. Basically on Muruganda, nothing is floating, all this stuff is slowly falling, and he says, one day the moon's gonna fall. When the moon falls, you don't want to be here. But then he gets angry and asks, it's kind of like this whole thing, like, he doesn't understand the whole idea of concept of the television crew videoing him, right? So he takes the camera and like just at the very end just ups and chucks it. And then we jump in and we got Chandra, and we're on this forest. She's talking about trees, and she used to not like trees, but then her and Nissa are together, so trees are a little bit better. And then the track is crazy, everything's going away, and people are trying to hit her, and she's just trying to do everything she can, throwing fireballs, different stuff like that to save it, and trying to get around it, getting these roots in and everything. And it's just interesting to see, trying to her do her whole thing and make her own path and go around. And then she sees different people who's trying to race her, and different people who are trying to catch up to her, realizing like the Aether Rangers are behind her. She's in first place at the moment. She's doing good. And, all of a sudden she thinks she's in first, and all of a sudden Winter's in front of her again. And she's like, how is this guy doing this? How is he getting in front of me all the time? If he's cheating, we're going to figure this out. And then we jump over to Spitfire, who's sitting here having a conversation. She's a little bit further back at the race this time, because there's lots of trees and different stuff like that. And she is not as, she doesn't have like the powers like Chandra does. So she's kind of staying back behind Bostri, who's just using sand stuff to just like cut through the trees and stuff. She's like, why not? Why not just stay there? Be behind here. Why not be smart? I can always catch up. It's smart enough to do it. Then all of a sudden, the ground starts to quake, and she's like, oh no, this must be like a moonfall thing, what's going on? And she realizes it is seeing all this is happening, but it's not just a moonfall. There's more that's going to happen. And then it kind of flashes back to 2 years ago to the Phyrexian invasion, all the craziness that was going on there. And she's got some stuff linked to her for the Phyrexian invasion and stuff like that. And then basically she's told, hey, look, stop. We are not going to outrace what's going on. You need to pull over. You need to, like, the race had different spots where people could get in if there's problems. You can go and protect yourself. And so there's a bunch of people, Bostri being one of them, and a bunch of the racers, Amakhet people, and different ones pulling over. And she's trying to decide what to do, even though she sees Sandra pulling ahead and everything, she's not sure. Then we have a short little story about Min, or Mincemeat, and Mincemeat gets like trapped in the spawning pit. I believe this was a spawning pit, and then flips over, ends up on Farfortune's car, all bruised and everything. And then all of a sudden, they're being attacked by lizard men on like dinosaurs and different stuff like that, which starts a whole thing, which leads us into like kind of the next part. But you go back to Doretti now, and Doretti and them racing, and all of a sudden they're getting captured, and Doretti's big old vehicle, they're being captured, and they're upside down because they got captured, and he's there. And then Redshift is like, sorry boss, but I'm gonna be a better boss than you. And he like has this little escape vehicle he shoots off on and gets away, while Doretti is being captured by these guys, these lizard people. Not sure what's gonna happen there, but everyone else takes off, and then he's left by himself. Then we go back to Chandra, and Chandra's kind of like driving, and she's going forward and continuing, and then she realizes that there's dinosaurs and stuff like that coming at her, and she realizes it too, that there's problems and all of this stuff, and trying to get the dinosaurs to stop from her, trying to get away from them. And then she realizes and sees that Winter and his vehicle is being attacked as well, and that Loot has gotten captured, and she has a thing that she wants to try to help this creature, which is Loot, but she's not sure. But then Choladin is like, or Koladin, sorry, her co-captain is like, look, you got to keep going. And she's like, look, it doesn't matter if you win or I win, we win together as a team. You go ahead and try to do it. I have to do my thing. And then all of a sudden, we jump back over to Spitfire, and she's trying to decide what to do. Is she going to pull away or go away? And it seems like she's just going to charge through, trying to get into all of this stuff and go through it. She's being hollered and be like, hey, you might be in trouble. Pia's like, hey, you need to help. You need to stop Chandra. And then she sees Chandra's ride just being smashed, and she's like, oh no, Chandra's giving up the race. What's going on? And someone's saying, hey, we need to help Chandra. And then she's on her own. And then she has a flashback kind of when the Phyrexian invasion, where she was going, her friend got like hit by one of the limbs of the trees that were coming in from the Phyrexian invasion. And then we jump in and we get a little story about Lute, and it's like, his name is Lute. And he's just like, man, this has been sucky. I've been trapped in this cage. Now I'm captured again, but I'm in a little bit roomier cage by these lizard people. And then all of a sudden he thinks he's good, and then all of a sudden they throw Duretti in. And it's a really cute, funny intervention. So Duretti and Lute is kind of like chirping in his mind and talking, but it's all a like telepathic thing. And Duretti pulls out basically this hot chocolate stuff, gives him and Lute makes hot chocolate for him, and they're all just cute. And he's like, how can you help us? What can we do? And then all of a sudden they see Chandra, and they're helping, and Chandra's sneaking around helping out. And then as they get there, Pia Nalar shows up as well to help make sure everyone is going to get out. And they're like, Duretti, is your vehicle able to run? Can it still go? Let's go. And they get it flipped over, get it going, using some of the weapons from it to take off. And then they're taking off. So now you've got Chandra, you've got Lute, you've got Pia Nalar, and you've got Duretti all in this vehicle. And Chandra's driving it. And they're just all driving this way, and they're like, where are we going to go? We're in trouble. We're captured. And Luke is kind of like telling them to go this way, this way, this way. But like that way is just a bunch of trees. But Chandra's like, you know what? I trust him. I think we're going to do this. We're going to trust him. I trust him. And all of a sudden they go through this portal, an omen path. It opens up right in front of them, and they go into somewhere. That's kind of where it is. They're crashing into a different world. So we are going to get an idea of the Winter was cheating because of using Lute to create omen paths to get ahead of different people. And so now we're going to kind of see how these omen paths work with Lute and stuff like that. Now you got Chandra, we got Pia, we've got Duretti, you've got Winter that's in the clear lead right now. A bunch of people are stopped and everything because of everything going on in Miraganda. Spitfire, we're not sure exactly what's going on there, where she's at, so we'll have to find that out. But this story is getting intense. This is exciting. Who is going to win? We don't know. Winter has his life on the line. He lost his cheat code though, so who knows if that's going to affect him in the future anymore. But now this new formed team of Duretti, Pia, Chandra, and Lute in Duretti's vehicle is quite interesting. We'll see what's going to happen with this race. Who's going to win? What's going to happen? I'm quite interested to see. So stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll have the next part of the story. You can always go to Daily MTG and catch up on the story and read the story and the side stories as well. And also every day they post a new story. So I don't know if they'll do anything over the weekends like Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes they take a break and don't do the full story. So we'll have to see. It also depends on how many days of story they're doing as well. But this has been really exciting, a lot of fun, and I'm excited to bring it to you. And I appreciate being an ambassador to be able to tell you more about this story and dig into it. And I'm excited for next week when we start getting to see some of the card previews. And I'm excited to see some of these cards and see what's going to happen with these vehicles, things we're going to get like that, and who these racers are, and get them as cards and seeing their abilities is going to be so stinking awesome. And I want to thank you guys so much for being here. And as always, we'll see you next time.